From being a 6th-round draft pick and almost being cut to turning into one of the most dominant players of the 2010s to play his position and make ridiculous plays like this, to becoming one of the most controversial, unpredictable, and downright problematic players in the NFL, this is the tale of Antonio Brown's fall from stardom. Antonio Brown was drafted 195th overall back in the 2010 draft. After competing for a spot in training camp, Brown was named the 5th wide receiver on Pittsburgh's depth chart. Brown finished his rookie regular season with 16 receptions for 167 yards in 10 games at wide receiver, but had some big moments come playoff time. He caught a 58-yard pass to set up the game-winning touchdown in the AFC divisional round, and caught a 14-yard pass to seal the AFC Championship game and send Pittsburgh to the Super Bowl. Brown made leaps and bounds in his sophomore season as the 3rd wide receiver on the depth chart. Finishing the 2011 season with 69 catches for 1,008 yards, Brown became the first player in NFL history to record more than 1,000 yards rushing and returning. By 2012, Brown had a shiny new contract, and by 2013 was a starting wide receiver for the Steelers, setting new records as he went. And in 2014, opened up the season with one of his most memorable moments as a Steeler.
Brown backpedals all the way to the 28-yard line. Good move upfield. Brown splits special teamers, and now Brown is off to the races. Hurdles, kicks a man, and a flag is thrown.
Now, Brown was fined and later apologized, but the moment became quite the spectacle for Steelers fans. The 2014 season would end up being one of Brown's best, as he led the Steelers in receptions and receiving yards with 129 and 1,698 respectively, and 13 touchdowns, all of which were team records. The following season is where things took a turn. With seconds left in a game between the Bengals, Brown was knocked out cold by Vontaze Burfict.
To Vontaze Burfict, and yes.
Oh my goodness.
And did not return, soon after being diagnosed with a concussion. And at the time, CTE and the technology of helmets in the NFL was making headlines and under heavy scrutiny. So needless to say, seeing this happen didn't help the NFL, and what he did later in this story only makes it worse. After winning the divisional round in 2015, Brown live streamed a celebration on Facebook Live. And while choosing Facebook Live to stream a celebration might have been the biggest problem of this story, the live stream caught Mike Tomlin calling their upcoming opponent, the New England Patriots, assholes. The fiasco caused major controversy for Brown and the team. After the 2016 season, the Steelers signed Brown to a 5-year extension, which made him the highest paid wide receiver in the NFL. He followed that up with another amazing season in 2017, the second time he had led the NFL in receiving yards. And then there was 2018. This is what many would consider the beginning of intense, chaotic downhill spiral to Brown's career. Prior to the start of the 2018 season, Brown faced a lawsuit stemming from an incident in April of 2018 when he allegedly tossed furniture from the balcony of his 14-story South Florida apartment, nearly striking a 2-year-old child on the pool deck. The lawsuit would end in a settlement a year later. And a nice cherry on top, a few weeks later, Brown was also cited for speeding over 100 miles per hour on McKnight Road mid-season. The situation between Brown and the Steelers was growing more and more contentious by the day. It was rumored that Brown was jealous of the amount of catches that second-year wide receiver Juju Smith-Schuster was getting. And to say that AB had a mild falling out to end his relationship with the Steelers would be a huge understatement. His final game as a Steeler came on December 23rd, 2018 in New Orleans to take on the Saints in a game the Steelers desperately needed to win in Week 16. In his final outing in black and yellow, Brown had 14 catches for 185 yards and 2 touchdowns. Unfortunately though, a fumble with seconds left in the game by Pittsburgh would end the contest, resulting in a Saints win. And the next week would doom Brown's relations with the Steelers. After getting into an argument with Ben Roethlisberger, Brown had skipped multiple practices in the weeks leading up to Pittsburgh's game against the Bengals, a must-win game for the Steelers to make the playoffs. AB skipped the team's Saturday walkthrough and team meeting, yet showed up to Heinz Field on Sunday expecting to play. Instead, he was benched and left the game at halftime, having never taken the field, and never would again for the Steelers. February of 2019, and after nixing a deal to the Buffalo Bills, was traded to the Oakland Raiders. And shortly after the trade, Brown would also publicly call out Juju for the fumble in the Saints game. A month later, after being fined $54,000 for unexcused absences and missing team meetings, Brown eventually had a confrontation with Raiders GM Mike Mayock, in which Brown had reportedly threatened to hit him and had to be held back by teammates. A few days later, Brown apologized for his actions and declared he was ready to play and be there for his teammates. And what better way to show his newfound commitment to his team by demanding to be released by the Raiders less than 24 hours later.
Grandma, they freed me! They freed me, Grandma!
But it doesn't stop there. After being released by the Raiders, the New England Patriots signed him in the same day.
It is exactly what everyone who thought they were so funny this morning was saying, except it's extremely real. A one-year deal for Antonio Brown.
Where everyone was thinking another Moss and Brady duo had been formed with Brown and Brady. But further allegations piled up in his 2 weeks with New England.
A woman claims Brown exposed himself to her. The report, he hired her in 2017 to paint a mural at his Pittsburgh home. When she came over, he allegedly approached her. He was naked, a small towel covering his privates. She says she took it as a clear sexual come-on.
And came to an end with the Patriots cutting Brown on September 20th. And while expressing his interest in continuing to play, would be suspended for the first 8 weeks of the 2020 season for violation of the league's personal conduct policy. After the suspension, he signed with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, reuniting with Tom Brady, and joined their second half push and eventual Super Bowl victory, making AB a Super Bowl champion again. The following season, Brown also spent time in Tampa Bay, but was suspended for 3 games for submitting a fake COVID-19 vaccination card to the league.
Now, Tampa's looking at you like, here we go again, AB. We can't trust you. He got off easy because if I'm the NFL, I would have suspended him for the rest of the season.
Shortly after, we reached perhaps the most infamous moment of Brown's career. At the start of the third quarter in a game between the New York Jets, this happened.
Took off his shoulder pads. Mike Evans, O.J. Howard trying to convince him to keep them on. Obviously, they were unable to do so. He tossed his shoulder pads, stripped off his shirt and glove, threw those into the crowd, then ran across the field while the teams were still on the field, giving the crowd a peace out sign.
The video in the news about the outburst spread like wildfire. And in a post-game press conference, Buccaneers head coach Bruce Arians said,
"He is no longer a Buck." All right, that's the end of the story. Let's talk about the guys that went out there and won the game.
And later on, Arians had said about Brown's meltdown, "I've never seen anything in my years like this." But that would be the last time AB would step on an NFL field. Since his exit from the Buccaneers, Brown has only been in further controversy and trouble, with recent incidents including a video surfacing of him exposing himself in a pool in Dubai, and most recently being served an arrest warrant on domestic violence charges. His problematic antics have also included a heavy amount of trolling his former teammate Tom Brady, including selling t-shirts that have a picture of Brown and Tom Brady's now ex-wife Giselle hugging, shortly after news had broke that Brady and Giselle were getting a divorce. The move to attack and troll Brady, a man who quite literally opened his home to Brown, was widely criticized and questioned by the public eye.
That is a woman he's got kids with, man. That's gonna hurt if they did it to you.
They didn't put my kids, my mother, my kids out too, everyone.
But he never did that to you. Brady didn't do that to you, bro. Brady had your back. But Brady had your back the entire time. Brady was all love with you. Brady went at bat for you. So when I see this, I sincerely, AB, no joke, I sincerely ask, is something bothering AB no one knows about? Maybe publicly we don't know nothing that something's bothering you on the inside.
But no matter how many bridges AB may continue to burn or headlines he makes, the question remains, was this all because of this one single hit that caused this downward spiral? Or was this fall from the stars always inevitable?